I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, want to welcome you back to another episode of Printer to Printer with me, Warren Werbitt, otherwise known as the Print Whisperer, sometimes. Today we are fortunate to have another great guest. As you know, all my guests are great. Anybody in the printing industry is great. How could we not be great? Today we have Mike Lewis of Smartpress. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me today, Warren. I'm really excited to be chatting with you.
Thank you. My pleasure. So before we talk, why don't you maybe just tell us a little bit about Smartpress?
Yeah, so Smartpress is the online division of the Bernard Group. Bernard Group is probably a whole nother episode, and I could line you up with somebody from over there. So I'm not going to go way into the weeds on all the great stuff we do on that side of our business. So I'll focus more on our online life here at Smartpress. For about the last 5 years, I was director of online sales and client experience. So I manage our sales, our chat teams. About a year ago, I moved into a new role as managed services account exec, managing our custom site builds and custom site development with our clients.
Cool. When you say online, does that mean that Smartpress is only online?
Yeah, I mean, essentially 100% of our orders. I think a lot of printers think of web to print. They think of just doing those custom storefronts on the side. For us, I mean, that website's really our order entry platform. We don't have another way to put an order into our system.
I'm jealous. I mean, I think first of all, I think today the less human, input that you have on details is better. If you could enter it all right somewhere at the beginning and then it flows, sets up well.
And there's a balance of technology and humans. So we're not trying to be just this faceless website where we just have a random call center in, offshore or some other part of the country. I mean, we're all here. But when you think about it, even most, job platforms, MIS, whatever you want to call it, your workflow systems for printers, a lot of them are cloud-based already. I mean, you're already putting in your orders technically online. Mm-hmm. We've just pushed that responsibility to our clients.
So, yeah, no, I think, oh my God, anytime you could put anything on the client, the better, right? Because, listen, whatever comes in is what you're going to deal with. And if you don't put it in, then it's not your doing. So when you say everything online, what kind of clients are you dealing with that everything at the place is online?
It's across the full spectrum of just about anybody you can think of. I mean, we're really trying to do B2B. We're not going after, when we first launched, we got into the wedding invite business.
Oh my God. By the way, when I got engaged and I was getting married and my wife to be said like invitations, I said, find somebody else. Do not come to me.
So when I was managing the sales group, I tried to push through the divorce project and get rid of that. But turns out we're so good at it because we have laser cutting and some other stuff that we still do that. But primarily, we're not going after like a direct to consumer. Right. We're going after small to medium businesses, working with those marketing teams. Can be healthcare. It's a lot of religious organizations, churches, synagogues.
So question, and to most people, I think when you think web to print, you're thinking all the basic print items, right? Stationery, letterhead, envelopes, brochure, anything that's kind of square cut and stitched. If you're completely cloud-based and your customers are entering for estimates, how do you handle or do you handle die cutting, stamping, any of the embellishments?
So I guess that's probably one of the things I'd like to correct or get the thinking straightened out for printers. We are doing all the custom projects that you're doing. It is great, and you can predefine products, but if you go to our site, I mean, we actually built in products. So foil-based cards, so we'll kind of have that embellishment built into the base product. But then we have a lot of drop-downs. I mean, you can go to a brochure and you can add laser cutting, you can add foil, you can add soft touch laminate, UV coating. But then the bigger part of that is we built our own custom quote platform. So literally any project.
How long did that take to get it right?
That was probably a good 6-8 month project, maybe even a year. Yeah, our dev team would probably say it's a year. But the thing about that is we present our quotes online. So you actually end up on a essentially a landing page on a website. It looks just like a PDF quote somebody's sending via email, but it has radial buttons. You click on your choices, whether it's quantity based or your components. It can be super complex project with die cutting, embellishments, kitting. You click on everything, hit check out. It's going to import all that stuff to your shopping cart on the site, and you check out just like you ordered a business card, but you just checked out on this huge
So
complex project.
when you're quoting online or people are entering their information, are they entering files? Like if you're doing hot stamping, how do you determine the size of the stamp or the size of the foil, right? Because that's what it's
Um,
all about.
so we've really tried to, I guess, dumb it down and make it as easy as possible. So you have to try to accommodate and just take a guess, really, like what's your coverage going to be and what's your cost. I mean, a lot of our foil is sleeking, or we work with outside. We do not have digital embellishment like your MGI or Scodex, but we have a couple partners real
You
close that we
should.
do.
If you're that
Yeah,
busy and
we
you're that
are. I mean,
big,
that is something that's definitely on the radar. Um, but you have to build in kind of an average. One of the things we do a lot is, I mean, if it is a product and it comes back as its bigger cost, we will push back to the client and say, hey, this came in. It's going to be way longer on our laser cutter. It's going to cost way more with the embellishment. So here's your kind of adjusted price, and we'll go into that online order and adjust the price and get the.
so you mentioned the other company's name, which we don't have to talk about the other company, but if they're an offset shop and they do everything, would you take anything that comes in that looks like that and have it quoted yourself, or do you not you push back on the client for them to go and figure it out?
Like when we're doing a custom quote or with
Yeah,
our
like
other.
like because you said everything is online, but if you have the other company and you get complicated quote, are you taking it to the other company to quote for
Yeah,
you?
yeah. So in that case, I mean, you know when we do have an outside partner that we're working with, it does kind of drag it out more like a traditional
Right.
quote cycle. So it is going to take a couple days to get that pricing back, and then we just plug their pricing in as a line item.
Right. Okay. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with customers having to wait a couple days to get a quote done right. Too many
No,
people.
and
Too many
it's
people want them fast. Too many people don't give the right information. Too many revisions on quotes. I guess if you're
yeah, and
online,
it's
I guess if you're online, it doesn't matter how many because no one's doing it. They're being done automatically.
yeah. So that is we fight the same battles as most printers on those custom quotes and timing and trying to deal with. I mean, let's face it, we live in an Amazon world, right? Um, everybody goes to the internet first for their information, so that's one of the things I just recommend. Even if you're just trying to look at getting started in web to print, update your store, your website, because that is where today's consumers. I mean, we're dealing with, like I said, across all spectrums. What I'm seeing is the buyers have really changed since I don't want to date myself, but we've probably been in the industry about the same time. And, um, like I said, I manage that client experience team. We get about 10 times as many chats as we do phone calls these days.
I don't know why people try to distinguish between the two. It's the same thing. It's a
Yeah.
call. It's a
Um,
call,
and we have a client engagement platform, like a third party software. It
right?
captures all that together. It pulls in chats, it pulls in emails, pulls in web forms, pulls in phone calls, all into the same tool, so that team can just you know migrate
Yeah.
between. It
Oh,
doesn't matter what
I
channel
think
it's coming in.
I think all that stuff is great. I think all the video chatting is great too. I mean, if I can't be in front of somebody in their office, I'd rather be in front of them on the screen. So at least you get to look in their eyes for the most part, and you get to see whatever reaction you can. I think it's way better than the phone. The phone you can only go by what you hear in their voice,
Yeah.
and good people know how to disguise their voice. So it's okay. Any salespeople?
Yeah, so we actually do have, it's not growing. I mean, we have about 13 dedicated sales reps. So, I mean, I guess one of the questions I was asked at the show we met at, is how do you guys educate clients? How do you actually talk them through these more complex projects? Well, that's the thing. So we have a team that's kind of the front line that's doing that chat and the phone calls. They can instantly transfer that to a salesperson. Every customer that registers on our site automatically is assigned to a salesperson.
And do salespeople
That's
go out
the
and meet all the customers or not really?
Do we meet them all? I would say probably only 50%.
Okay. Can I ask what the average order cost is?
Um, it's been, I mean, it's probably right around $400 right now.
Okay.
But you have to weigh that on, I mean, we've had single orders that are $400,000, and then we
Online?
have, yes. So we have a record. I think it was actually 300 and, well, $380,000. It's a record we're always trying to beat. That was a first time order from a customer. That did take a lot of bit of sales. I mean,
Well, that you have to
that wasn't like, hey, they came
for
online
that
and ordered.
size. I think you're going to see them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that involves some meetings and
So without, I mean, I'm not asking for the customer name, but like, what was it? And if you can give it up without divulging anything, I'm only curious because that's like a whoa. That's pretty cool.
that was a yard sign or greeting card yard signs. So
Wow.
it was for a company that I guess sells greeting cards, and they during the pandemic wanted, it was becoming really popular to do those big outside um, yard cards. So it was a huge order of Coroplast, large format that we did in house, and then kitted it all and packaged it for retail sale.
Wow. Cool. That's a big order.
Yeah, and it's we balance that with, hey, I'm going to get probably 75 under $50 orders today for business cards.
Yeah, but truth is, if you take those orders and you gang run them, you're making more money and higher margin on that gang run than on some of the other runs you're doing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's where online shines. I don't have to take that. Traditional printer, you might have to take a tiny business card order to your estimating to, hey, can you give me a price on this quick?
Well,
You know,
so
I
I'll
don't.
tell you the difference is you'll go and do them online and sell them for 40, $50. When the guy comes to me for 250 business cards, he's paying 350 if it's not black and white, right?
Yeah,
And that's just because of the service. But the other thing is when you're doing the gang runs for some people, whatever color you get's what you get,
yeah.
right? There's
There's
a trade off in the gang run style run. So I think you need to know your customer, or the customer needs to know what they're heading into. Otherwise, you're heading
yeah,
into a quality fight because they don't understand.
yeah, and that I mean those easier projects like that. I mean that's one of the things I would tell the sales team all the time is we're really not selling print. We're selling convenience. I mean, when you think about it, the buyers these days, like a lot of them are digital first designers. It's really easy for them to do a digital campaign. Our competition, they can go to like a HubSpot or a Active Campaign and build this campaign on their website and kick it out across a bunch of social media and email. And so that's what we're trying to do with print. Try to make it as easy as possible to access some really impactful marketing that you
Yeah,
can touch
and I
and
think
feel.
for those people that are into the digital marketing, I mean, I think it's been proven you need to be doing both, right?
Yeah, and
You can't do one because you miss out on people.
and print is about touch. So one of the things we've done is just on our site. If you go, all the product pages are actually live customer artwork. We go and curate that with our clients as we see work come through. Hey, this is great. Can we use it for marketing? Well, we've built a really big sample library. Um, we build websites, so it's actually on a website that our internal team uses with a storefront, but just to track inventory. But when we're talking to customers, and I brought a little visual sample, we send out a ton of these. So you get a nice little branded Smartpress box. You open it up, it says create brilliant print, and this is probably our number one marketing tool. So this is a paper sample book. It's got about 70 papers that we inventory. They can touch and feel them all. Each page has client artwork on it. Um, but then towards the back of the book, I mean, it has our different foil samples. So you can come in here and see examples of foil, soft touch. Um, we send out almost 1,000 of these a month.
You send out a
This is our number.
thousand a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's 40 to 50 a day. So this is a free product on our site. It's our number one. It's
That's
free.
really first of all, I think I always thought a good sample book is a good sample book that's the right size that covers most of the basic papers or regular papers being used is a great thing. And when you have them printed on and you have the different finishing, it's a no-brainer. I mean, people must call you and say, "Wow, thank you, what a great book."
Yeah, it is. In fact, later this week, I'm going to a local agency, and they're training new people that don't have any exposure to print. So they asked me that, can you bring like 10 of those paper sample books for our newbies and just kind of walk through, and that's one of the things too with hiring these days. I actually teach a Print 101 class here internally.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and
Cool.
go through paper and a little bit of color theory and just all the types of printing that we don't do. We're all digital.
What kind of equipment you running?
On the small format side, for the collateral, we have all Indigo. So we have 7 Indigo 12K HDs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a whole fleet of large grand format, really, UV inkjet. So like 3 flatbeds, a whole bunch of hybrid that can roll, even. So we even have Braille printers. That's one of the things we've gotten into, is helping customers with like institutional signage.
Oh, wow! I think the Braille is great. I can't believe that there's not really more of it. But I think it's inevitable in time that everyone's going to want to have it.
Yeah, and that was one of the off spins of one of our storefronts. We were doing all the collateral and helping them with like retractable banners that we do, and they said, "Hey, we're really in a pickle here. Can you help us with signage?" So we actually tested it. Got a very small Braille printer, and it's just kind of grown. But I wasn't quite done with the physical sample.
Oh, sorry. Go on. Yeah.
So you get this great box. You got a little tab there. You pull it up. You can get samples. But here's another great tool. So here's kind of our capabilities brochure for Smartpress. Nice presentation piece. You can put your business card in here. But we made it modular. So these are all cards. About all our sales reps have a little bio card, so they can throw in their bio card. But then we talk about, white ink printing, direct mail letter packages. So you can really customize the message. You've already talked to this customer on the phone. We probably have 25 to 30 different cards you can throw in here, but we really tailor it to what the conversation was about. And, whether it's, synthetic paper or, there's an environmental card that you can see it's down here. It says printed on 100% recycled. We have a synthetic, so it's touch and feel on it too. It's, a great, we've gotten a lot of kudos from clients on this, where we've actually been reusing that die for that 3-panel pocket folder for customers.
Why not?
Marketing kits.
Listen, everything you're making more money because I'm sure you have a little bit of the price of the die in the quote already just to cover it.
Yeah, so I guess the message there is we're still doing a lot of the things that other printers are doing. It's just that our major communication channel and back and forth has gone really online. So it's online, supported by those real people.
Yeah, no, I think from the way it sounds, from the way you're set up, it's you're doing it right. If you could be doing that business and sending out 50 sample books a day, that I think itself is pretty incredible. If people are ordering the way they're ordering, and they're responsible and accountable for the stuff that they put up online, wow, just nice. Listen, we all have customers who do things and then they make a mistake and then they want our help. Right? When they make a mistake, and I guess it's okay, but I used to say to my customers, whoa, I made a mistake. Do I get your help? Oh, no. It's only one-sided help, right? But I think
so that is another thing that we probably face more than if you're not really 100% online, is that if we make a mistake or someone's not happy with their order, it just kills me. Instead of reaching out to us first, they'll go post something on social media.
That's the new generation of people, right? And I'm going to say this, that most of the people posting stuff like that are people that would never say 2 words in a normal world. It's just how they get to hide behind their monitor.
In my previous role, that was my job, was to really jump on those and follow up on if we got just a scathing online review or social media post. And the thing is, I'd get them on the phone, and then they're super nice, very apologetic.
Well, because they don't expect to be. Listen, I, sometimes put stuff out there and whatnot, and I wear smaller shoes because they're easier to get out of my mouth when they get stuck. But I've been called out a couple times for saying something maybe a little before I should have. And then after you go back and you make the correction. But yeah, people just get a little excited. But I'm sure, people, if people would always phone me with a situation, I would just deal with it. Even if it means redoing it or going half, just avoid the conversation. Just get it done, because the more time you spend trying to resolve a problem, the bigger the problem becomes or can become.
Yeah, and I mean, we have essentially 100% satisfaction guarantee too. So if you would just call me, like, hey, I'll either reprint it or refund it.
Right.
If
Reprint if
it's
you
on
like
us.
them, refund if you don't like them.
Yeah, and it's
Depends how they talk.
so it's just one of those nuances of being online. Is I think we're exposed to a little bit more of that.
Listen,
You know,
I put a video up on my channel yesterday or 2 days ago when I was just in the pharmacy, just
oh,
looking for some hair product. And first of all, I was surprised that there was 1,000 views overnight on the video. So now I think I'm ready to monetize my channel. So whoever's watching, go subscribe, keep watching. But it was kind of like, wow, right? It just things go fast. But
yeah. I actually saw
oh,
that video
yeah,
of you.
what I was gonna say was I think there was like 18 dislikes. There was more likes than dislikes, but I wasn't even upset with the dislikes. I was just happy that there was people watching.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I guess it's that any
Well,
exposure is good
even
exposure.
even with dislikes, there's a conversation to be had, right? Not to fight with anyone, but just and I'd be actually interested to know why they didn't like it, because I thought it was pretty damn good. You know, is the company have any big plans in the future? Purchases, heading in any new directions?
So one thing I didn't mention. So we're an ESOP, so we're employee owned. Um, so we're very very collaborative. I think that drives a lot of dedication and
How long has
innovation.
it been? Sorry, how long has it been employee owned?
I think we're on about our 8th year now.
Cool.
So our founder kind of, you know, has taken a step back. He's still on the board, but he kind of turned it over to the employees about 8 years ago. Um, and it's a great thing. We have a little share reveal party and have an ESOP committee. So it's
Listen,
celebrated.
I think I think when there's a lot of people that have worked in a company for so long, and you have an owner who, doesn't have anyone in the family who wants to come in, what a great alternative if he's in a position or she's in a position to offer to the employees to continue the future of the company, to continue everybody's positions.
Yeah. But yeah, back to kind of future plans. I mean, we're always, so one of the things, we look at as far as equipment, like I said, we're all digital. The technology is changing so fast. Um, we try to get into like for equipment, like the most flexible,
Leasing is
unstructured deals we can because we try to be collaborative with a lot of the press developers.
Hey, I always joke that like if you get a machine, you want to try and make the payback in 2 or 3 years. You don't want to go the duration of a potential lease, right?
Yeah, exactly. So try to get as much flexibility in those deals as you can. Um, I mean, we're always looking, like I said, I think inkjet's really going to be kind of the future here as, like the cut sheet, shorter run.
Yeah, depends for what, but yeah, listen, every few years something changes up in the industry and there's a new buzzword and that becomes a new future of the technology of what's going to happen. I think we have
Yeah.
enough technologies out there and there's enough equipment out there that, as long as we're doing the right job for the customer on the right equipment, I think when you own the equipment, just run it to the ground as long as you can before you go invest another $1 million
Yeah.
in something, right?
I mean, one thing unique to us, I mean, our biggest investment is probably just that development side of things. I mean, we have a team of software developers that's probably 30 strong.
Wow.
So it's not only the customer facing things, but looking at just how do we drive efficiency in our internal workflow.
Well,
And
what's the one thing in our industry is about the efficiency. The more efficiency we are, the more money we can make. But at the same time, the more efficient we are, the better we can run our businesses.
yeah,
Right? There's no secrets to that.
and it's, getting that outside view too. So that's like my boss here actually came from the software world. Um, I guess one thing I've kind of absorbed and learned here is, you know, coming from the print business, sometimes experience can be the biggest roadblock to innovation. So I've learned okay, this is how I've always done it in my career, but I've put those walls down and like, I need to hear these other ideas.
Oh
And
my God, the best ideas that we have come from hearing other people's ideas that help us create and formulate and think of new things. Listen, any one person on their own is not, is not
yeah,
solid, right? You don't have, you kind of got, you get stuck in your ways in certain things. So the more people you have, the people you're around, I find I become more creative. I become a little more, the brain moves in a different way. It goes because you're seeing things and you're processing. When no one's around, you kind of get a little flat, tired, and
yeah,
bored. So it's pretty
yeah.
cool.
And um, one of the things I will mention is just that creativity. I mean, the company started in, I mean, a big chunk of our business is still that really crazy, difficult merchandising and retail display work. So, I mean, I think we've carried that over to this world. We have hey, we can figure this out.
Listen,
Um,
everything's workable. It's just what is the price, what is the time, what is the delay. I think today with the supply chain issues, customers are making some quicker decisions. I think their decisions are also sometimes less based on the dollar. Even though when you would interview buyers, they would say dollar was never the most important. They just happened to start off every conversation with it,
yeah.
right? And that's what they
Those,
want. So it's a new world out there. We got to find
yeah.
ways to just communicate, stay in touch with, and make people happy.
Yeah. And speaking of dollars, so I mean, online, web to print, whether it's those standalone storefronts, our, customer facing custom upload and print, like our Smartpress site, I mean, it's a value add. So we're not giving away pricing. I'm not making it more efficient and giving away all that money. Um, I mean, it's a workflow tool for the customer too. It's like a project management tool. It's bringing value to them. And
By the way, sorry to cut you off, but the customer not having to call the salesperson all the time to find out something, because then the salesperson's calling the CSR to find out. I mean, it's a beautiful thing online with the efficiencies and the follow and the track. If that's what you want, I never wanted my customers to have access to where their job is and what's happening. Call
yeah,
us will tell you, but we were doing every job was a custom job, so
yeah.
we never
And
knew at any time some delay somewhere throws everything off.
yeah. And our sales team has grown. We're not replacing them with technology. It's grown with the technology, and it
Well,
allows them to actually have way more clients.
Well, it's also when you get new salespeople that are younger, they're more in tune anyways, and they catch on a little quicker and they know the jive, right? I don't know how many legacy salespeople you have, but some of the elders are the hardest ones to make the change. Although in some places I've seen them embrace it and then kill the younger guys because they just took on to the new way of working, but didn't lose the edge on the inside because they were driven to sell, sell, sell. So that was cool. So yeah, we're approaching that time. Anything you want to add? Any tidbit to the people listening? Any words to the industry before I cut you off?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just say don't be afraid of online. I mean, it's really where you have to go. I mean, that's where our buyers, print buyers,
Everybody.
live there. And don't give it away. Except if you're building storefronts.
By the way, don't give anything away. If you give it away, I will find you and kill you. I hate people in this business who give stuff away. Period. We're not giveawayers. And today, with the price of paper, paper is worth more than gold today, right?
Oh yes, yeah,
It's actually worth more than Bitcoin and any of those other currencies. So, paper actually, I'm happy to say in 2022, paper is king.
yeah. It is. I mean, I just had that hard conversation right before this call with a client that, hey, you waited too long. We just got another round of paper increases. So
Listen, I sell a little bit of print if people call me. I don't really solicit it because I just don't want to. But if people call, I'm thrilled to handle jobs and projects. And I had one person that was just recently talking to who said, "Oh, too expensive. I'm going to shop around." I said, "You know what? I understand, but in 60 minutes, this job will not be available." For us to take because I'm going to sell the paper to somebody else. Not to be mean, but there's 4 people waiting. So the customer doesn't have that option today that they used to have, right?
yeah,
And actually, when they call back and 2 hours later, it's actually a nice feeling sometimes to say, "Sorry, I told you it's gone." Right?
yeah, yeah. And we've played like every printer, that alternative stock game. Like I mean, we
You know
were
what?
scrambling to get in
There's
there.
not even today. There's not even a paper by name. It's a weight.
Yeah.
Get me a coated, right? Period. Where we are, it's 100 pound, 2840 available, not in any other size.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's
It's
job.
going to continue to be an issue. And
Yeah, well, this is the problem. I mean, I did some work for somebody else, and the the price of the piece kind of went up 40% because we always had the right size paper to fit the size of the product onto and make it fit. Now, with a 2840 sheet, I'm running about 27% waste. 20,000 sheets, 27% waste. That's a lot of paper with
yeah.
nothing to put on. And it's, customers don't always understand, but we try to make them understand because otherwise,
Yeah. And that's actually made us push a whole bunch of new products where we've tweaked sizes and try to come up with a little bit different formats just to completely optimize that press sheet.
yeah, the other thing I think it's important for anybody listening, while the supply chain issues are happening and you're getting letters from suppliers or there's things being posted online, you want to make sure that you keep sending them to your customers. You want to make sure that you put them on your websites. You want your customers to know that you are open and that everything going on is affecting everybody, and it's going to go until 2023. The customer shouldn't really have a problem understanding because they're seeing supply chain shortages in the rest of their life, right?
Yes.
So if you're seeing it in the rest of your life and you're a customer listening, what makes you think you're not going to have it here?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, we're gonna call it a day. Mike, I want to thank you
Yeah.
for the time, folks. If you're listening, it's actually our second time. The first time the
Yeah.
recording didn't go well, so
The two old
Mike,
guys messed up the tech thing.
yeah, more technology. So, Mike, I appreciate the second time coming on. It's really cool to hear what you guys are up to. Continued success.
Yeah. Thank you.
To everybody else listening, I thank you. I really thank you if you made it this far because not everybody goes till the end. If you went to the end, reach out to me. Send me a note. Send me a tag. Maybe I have a surprise for you. Tell me that you watched the video till the end. Tell me it was you liked what Mike had to say, and we'll send you something. Everybody else, check in the next one. Keep watching all of them. If you know anyone who wants to be on, reach out to me. If you got a question, reach out to me. Otherwise, Warren for what they think, and I love print.